Welcome back to today's presentation or today's Investor Days hosted by ABG Sundal Collier. My name is Stefan Knutsson. I'm an equity analyst following today's presenting company, which is Studsvik. And with me today I have the CEO, Camilla Hoflund. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Stefan. So, ladies and gentlemen, nice to see you all. My name is Camilla Hoflund, and I'm the president and CEO of Studsvik. I'm very honored to be here today and talk about Studsvik, a nuclear engineer company that has been around for more than 75 years. Let me start with an introduction. And let me take a step back and look a little bit on the external factors that impacts our business. We all know about the climate change and that we want to reduce the fossil alternatives. And there you have nuclear as an alternative to more non-fissile alternative. And also we all know that the energy need will not decrease, it will actually increase. And we even talk about shortage. Putting that in context, you also need an energy source that is reliable and predictable. And that is where nuclear comes into play. And also due to the geopolitical situation, many countries has decided that they want to have secure supply and be in control, meaning that they are also planning for investing in new nuclear new build. And also in Sweden we had this recently Tidöavtalet, Tidö agreement. So even the Swedish government announced that they believe in investing in nuclear and that they will support nuclear development. Studsvik's vision is innovating nuclear sustainability, meaning that we take our expertise, facilities, know-how, and develop safe and efficient solutions for the nuclear industry. And this is our contribution to a sustainable and clean energy. Who we are. Studsvik is a world leader in highly specialized areas. So we are not a broad company, but we are highly specialized in our areas. And we are profiting from global trends of increased focus on sustainability and also on reduction of the carbon dioxide. And we also have a broad range of services, highly specialized, broad range. That means that we support both the front end, the operation, and the back end of the power life cycle. And this picture actually illustrates very well where Studsvik and, of course, many other companies are right now. We are on a very global footprint, but it's a whirlwind around us and a lot of changes. And with changes, of course, comes also opportunities. And then we have a technology development that goes into the future and also like artificial intelligence, new builds, etc. Key financial points, 2021, we had a net sales of about 800 million Swedish krona, profit about 86 Swedish krona, and an operating margin about 10.7. 9 months so far this year, we have a net sales about 590. I make a little bit round off on the numbers. Operating profit slightly above 40. And an operating margin about 7. And I will come back later on in my presentation what our goals are and the targets we have for financials. From the introduction, I will now move on to the market and show you where Studsvik is on the market side. As mentioned, we are worldwide and we have sales distribution last year where still Europe is our main market. And in Europe, we have Germany on the first place and Sweden on the second place, and then comes UK and other countries. We also have or are present in Asia, mainly in China, but also South Korea, Japan, and then also North America, mainly US. Our customers are represented very broadly within the nuclear industry. It's everything from nuclear power plants to nuclear vendors that develop the fuel, to research and other facilities, even our competitors sometimes, and also the nuclear authorities, And we are also doing a little business in nuclear medicine. The dots you can see on the map is Studsvik offices, or where we have sales representatives worldwide. So we are very much reflecting the footprint of our customers. Goals. I told you I was going to come back to the goals and what goals we have. If we look at the financial goals, we have 3 goals, starting with the net sales. And we have a target of achieving organic growth of 6% on year by year. And on the curve, you can see that it's slightly different in the quarters. But historical trend used to be that quarter 4 is generally more higher net sales compared to the average of the year. And that's a trend you can see in the graph. Our operating margin has been increased from February this year, the target. And from 8%, we now have a target of 12%. And we are trending towards improving that as well. And the solidity is a stable target of 40%, and that's been quite stable over the years. Okay, it's not only about financials, it's non-financial goals as well. I told you that we have our primary goal is to support our customers with safe and efficient solutions. And we have 3 cornerstones in the company, starting with innovation, competence development, and organizational learning, meaning learning from experience that we have from the past. If we put those 3 things together, we have a good possibility to reach a culture that drives the mindset to think and act differently. And that's important to drive innovation and also to motivate employees. And when we manage to get that culture and the right behavior in the company with the right way of thinking, acting, and motivation, we are also capable of creating solutions for our customers, pragmatic solutions for very complex problems. And that's also one of the keystones for Studsvik as a company. That is the base for building long-term customer relations and also to have high customer satisfaction. And by reaching all those things together, we continuously improve our financial performance. So that's our model for the company. Let me show you this picture. And this is illustrating the Studsvik offerings for the nuclear power life cycle. And the red that starts over here comes in the phase of new build, design for new reactors, design for new fuel, design of new materials. We have the next phase when actually the reactor is in operation or actually the fuel is open for the market. And we also then have the phase when we are deciding to decommission the reactors or decommissioning waste, fuel, whatever. And the very final part of this is the final disposal that are different from country to country. What you find inside here is the different business areas, and I will come back to each one of them. But what I want to point out already here is that you can see that most of them are actually covering all of the phases. Again, not broadly services, but very specific high technical services. And one point to mention too is that our business base is still within reactor operation, but our growth plans is to improve and into the decommissioning area and also the new build and design area. But the biggest part of our net sales is still within reactor operation. Now I will move on talking about each business area, so you get a little bit more background on what are the things we are doing. So let me start with decommissioning and radiation protection services. This is a business that has been around for about 30 years of experience. Last year, this business area contributed with 40% of the net sales. This is a people business. So we have experts based in Germany, Switzerland, that covers the German, Switzerland, partly Belgium, partly Holland, with services within either reactor operation for the reactor still in operation, or then moving more into the decommissioning phase and the reactors moving into decommissioning. And you might have heard about Germany. They were supposed to shutting down the last 3 reactors this year end, but they have decided to continue to operate the reactors at least until April next year. What is in our initiatives and current focus areas for this business area is to expand, of course, even further into the decommissioning, because still for this market, even if Germany runs the 3 reactors even longer, it is a lot of decommissioning activities that need to be handled. With decommissioning comes a huge priority, and that's taking care of the waste. It sounds easy, but it's very difficult. You have to be very aware of what you are doing, in which order you do it, and how the logistic is going to be. So we have experts in our business areas also within waste. We also work on an international scale, not only in the German-speaking countries, but also on the more international basis for this business area. And the goal is to expand the business even beyond Germany for this business area. The second business area, almost as big in revenue, is fuel and materials technology, with experience of running hot cells for more than 60 years of experience. And that's quite significant. This is a business area that is very global. It's based in Sweden, but 80% of the revenue is international revenue. We are doing a lot of international programs with the same goals of improving safety or improving efficiency for the industry, and with all those categories of customer types that you saw on the previous slide. We also are working in the lifetime extension and to improve the data for knowing of how you can expand the lifetime for the reactors in a safe way and efficient way. And we are also part of the final disposal program here in Sweden and in other countries as well. One new area for this business area is also to move more and more into the decommissioning. There used to be some part of special fuel that need to be treated that cannot go in those big categories. And that's our specialty. Every time when it's difficult, something that needs to be handled in a special way, that's where we have quite a great interest to be part of. So all in all, this is an advanced nuclear facility in Sweden that serves the international market. And also initiatives and current focus areas is, of course, to continue the competence development and also use our hot cells for R&D, new services, new kind of needs. Continue to expand into Asian market. Broaden the services within decommissioning, we talked about that already. But also we have a production of medical isotopes in this business area. But now it's a lot about nuclear right now. The third business area is Scandpower. And Scandpower have more than 50% of the commercial nuclear light water reactors as customers, meaning there is one Scandpower software installed in each of these 50%. It's more than 200 reactors. So that's quite significant. And what Scandpower is doing is that they are serving the customer to optimize the fuel, independent if you are in the design phase, in the core monitoring during operation, or if it's in the back end where you need to store the fuel. So this is the tools they have and software tools they have. And recent initiatives and current business focus areas for this business is, of course, they are in multiple reactor types and also looking into the future, the upcoming reactor types. We talk about small modular reactors, advanced reactors, several R&D programs, but also commercial customers developing into this area, and also for new types of cladding, new types of fuel. One initiative that is also very interesting is the recently signed cooperation agreement with a partner regarding artificial intelligence. And the purpose is also to combine our software with artificial intelligence solutions to be able to even further get to the margins of how you can operate the fuel to be so efficient but also keep safety limits. Geographical market expansion, that's of course a part. And we are also partly into what's going on in the Middle East now when they are starting the reactors. So we have also our software supporting that part. The fourth business area is within the waste management technology. And they have about 40 years of experience in this area. And 8% total revenue last year. And they are a provider of finding treatment, both sufficient but also sustainable treatments for highly mid-irradiated waste and low-level waste. So this is not the fuel part, this is on the level where you have lower radioactivity. And the purpose is to volume reduce and to stabilize the waste before it goes to interim storage or final storage. We also have a team that is advisors in this business area that can support the customers both for finding good plans of how to treat the waste, both from operations of nuclear power plants, but also from research reactors, as well as historical legacy waste that we know that many countries still has. Main markets, Europe and North America. Recent initiatives and current focus areas. We have a newly technology called InDrum that is a thermal treatment of waste. For example, resins, big volumes, harmonized waste, but it can also handle complex, again, we like the complex things, complex waste, and that is difficult for other options to handle. That's where this is very suitable. And we also have feasibility studies and conceptual designs for melting facilities. And we very recently signed a license agreement with Westinghouse. And that is a long-term contract based on performance and milestones. And they are going to build a melting facility in UK in one of the sites. And that's very exciting, actually. I go for this one. So, starting to wrap up our success factors. We have been there for 75 years, so what's important and how do we get to the point where we are? Very early on, we worked very internationally and customer interested, and today we are on the world leading. But again, highly specialized. I'm very humble. We are not on the broad scopes. We are on the highly specialized things. And we have a very global customer base. Innovation is very important for us. We combined new technology with the experience we already had and mix that, merge that together and find a good solution. International cooperations, of course, key. Our international software that we already have installed in the reactors. Unique nuclear facilities that we have in Sweden. And also a very strong brand for Studsvik. So again, the whirlwind is there, and we all know it's going to be a whirlwind, and who knows what challenges comes on the way, but we will find our way to handle that as well. So then I start to wrap up and say thank you for listening.
Thank you, Camilla, for the presentation. I would like to start off with what you just said in the beginning, that the nuclear industry is gaining some new momentum as an alternative energy source now with the Russian war showing the fragility of the system that we currently have. What have you seen so far in terms of implications for you? Any opportunities that has arisen from this?
I think in the bigger picture, it's very interesting to see because it's escalating some of the R&D programs. So this concept of small modular reactors, I think, has improved, and they try to shorten the time frame. So I know the initiatives were there before, but it's the speed of how it's focused and how it's investing in this new reactor types, for example, has increased. And then for Studsvik, of course, it's our business is long term. It's very good with new initiatives. It's very good with a positive wind in the industry, but it's not changing over a day.
Okay, and then you mentioned small modular reactors as one topic here. I mean, we do still have a large pipeline of large-scale nuclear power plants that is coming online in the next few years. But I think that we can all agree that the mix will be more towards SMRs in the future. How will that shift implicate your different business segments?
I think that goes quite well hand in hand with what we are more or less doing for the light water reactors, the big scale reactors today, and what we will do for the small modular reactors. And if you remember, I told you on the software side that we are already part of the development and the things that need to be developed. But I can foresee that most of the services we do would continue also for that kind of reactors.
And overall, would you deem that this shift is a net positive, is it neutral, or is it even a negative for Studsvik's business opportunities in the future?
I think the timeline depends on, but I wouldn't expect negative. I probably depends on where they actually start to come online and where the real construction and operation phase starts in a way. But I foresee it as a good continuation of the business, and the reactors we have, I think they will do everything they can to expand the lifetime. And there, as I mentioned, we also have programs for supporting that.
Okay, perfect. And in the presentation, we saw that you raised your margin target earlier this year. What will be needed in order to reach that target, in your opinion?
If you remember how I showed the different power life cycles, it's really important that we have good stability of where our strong footprint is in the reactor operation today, which we foresee to have, and then that we manage to grow into the new build and new reactor types, but also new cladding types, and also the decommissioning phase. And these are activities ongoing right now, so we are not waiting for the SMRs.
Perfect. And then you mentioned the deal that you just closed with Westinghouse in waste management technology. This is a business area that you have downsized a few times. Was this the breakthrough that you have been waiting for? Or is that too optimistic to assume?
I think this was the first part of the breakthrough, at least, that we have waiting for. And of course, we have other things in the pipeline as well. And I think everyone agrees that taking care of the waste from the historical sites and the reactors going on now will be important. And that might be something that even gains more importance over time. But all these contracts take quite a long time to negotiate. So there's a quite long decision time before you get to the contracts. But this was very important for us.
Perfect. And then lastly, on fuel and materials technology, you have seen momentum there with large orders coming from Asia. I just wonder, how does the competitive landscape look for orders of that magnitude? Who are you competing with?
That's a difficult question because it probably depends on, because we are like the only commercial hot cell laboratory. I used to state that, and that's very true. And then you have national laboratories. So of course, if we talk about specifically Asia and think about the growth in China, we would compete with Chinese organization, but they haven't had all these years of experience that we had on the irradiated material. So I think there will take quite a long time before you get there, because working with non-irradiated is not a no-brainer, but many people can do that, universities, etc. But working with irradiated material, there comes so many things into place that you need to have experience of. So it's not a quick, fast learning. So I think that maybe the decision time can be the ones that makes it or breaks it, or if you postpone it or things happens. But I think we are in a quite good position, and we have increased the capability actually in the hot cell to be able to perform the big contracts also.
And lastly, then, prior to the war in Ukraine, you had business relationships with Russian nuclear plants. I mean, should we now assume that those relationships are dead for the foreseeable future, or how do you view those relationships?
Yeah, I think the Russian market is very difficult to predict right now, and we, as many other companies, are not doing any new business because no one knows how it's going to be. I really hope, not because of the Russians only, but for the Ukraine people, that this war would stop. And then, of course, I think and believe that over time, maybe they will come back, but no new business for the Russian market right now.
Okay. Thank you very much, Camilla, for coming and presenting with ABG today.
Thank you.